Friends, welcome to another episode of Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga, daily hosted by Virat Hindustan Sangam on various social media platforms. As we had announced earlier, today is a special episode in which Dr. Subramaniam Swamy will be speaking with two eminent people who have been crusaders against corruption along with Dr. Swamy. One is J. Gopikrishnan, eminent journalist who writes for The Pioneer and who has written extensively on 2G scam. In fact, he is one of the earliest journalists, or perhaps the only journalist who has been consistently exposing since the inception the 2G scam. We also have with us Sree Iyer from the US, who is a inventor who has 37 patents and who has written numerous books and articles and is the famous publisher of the pgurus.com website, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a website which is daily looked towards every day in India by the politicians, bureaucrats, and the common. And I have with me Arvind Chaturvedi and Ramesh Swamy. But today's show is going to be a very special show of a very special family. Our program is Chidambara Rahasya. So, with this, the three people who have been in this crusade against corruption, and I must tell our viewers that Sree Iyer has written also a book known as C Company. So he has written extensively on the subject. So I will, there he is displaying the book C Company, which he has published some 2 years ago, and it was published and it was quite discussed in the media in India. So with this remarks, I would now request Dr. Swamy to have his opening remarks and take the discussion forward with Sree Iyer and with J. Gopikrishnan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm privileged to be in this company of warriors against corruption. Both Gopi Krishnan and Sree Iyer in different dimensions. But I would say that one of the earliest persons to bring out these famous cases in print, and that too in Pioneer, was Gopi Krishnan, and he has been very independent. He can't be typecasted as belonging to Group A, Group B, or C. And we have, by reading his columns, we gain a lot of information. And therefore, let me start by saying that corruption is responsible for us not growing at growth rates of above 10% per year. And the reason is that corruption, number one, gives people substandard products, because you can't make money by getting, say, in a tender to get it be awarded to you unless you pay a bribe. If you pay a bribe, then of course you lower the standard. If you, for example, if it's for a road, you put substandard materials, and these roads then develop potholes very soon. So, or there'll be adulteration and so on. And second thing is that it distorts the investment priorities of a developing country. For example, if you have black money, you can't build a factory on it. So what you do is buy luxuries, and luxury prices shoot up. And therefore, investment starts moving away from producing essential goods to luxury goods. And in India, directly or indirectly, the allocation of investment to luxury goods is now 70%. And when it should be exactly the opposite, it should have been 30%. So I think there's also the fact that people engage in money laundering, that is the Hawala route, to deposit the money abroad, which means that you become a captive of the Hawala agents, who are mostly in Dubai, and they owe their allegiance to Dawood and to Pakistan. So many of our politicians are easily blackmailable by Pakistan because of the fact that they have used the Hawala route to deposit their money abroad. And so there are multi-dimensional effects, and consequently fighting corruption is to basically fight for the integrity of India. It's not a question of only bringing people to book for committing a crime. Now, the whole focus in this country erupted when the 2G spectrum scam came. And the 2G spectrum scam is simply this, that the spectrum for these companies like Airtel and others, which use it for their mobile phones. This spectrum was auctioned during the BJP period in 2000, and a price was determined at 1600 rupees per spectrum. And in 2009, when the second round of giving spectrums, this time not 2G but 2G and 3G, but principally 2G, the question, 9 companies were contenders, and the question was how to give the license. Should we go for auction again? And a spurious argument was used by then petroleum, electronics ministry. What was it called? What was the ministry of Raja? It was
Telecom.
it was called Telecom. Yes, Telecom Ministry. Telecom Ministry, and Raja decided, and I believe he decided because he got a direction from above, and I'll say something about that in a minute, that instead of auctioning it, it should be given away on a principle, administrative principle. And so they came up with this principle that whoever applies first will get the first allocation, and then the first 9 would get all the spectrum allocation on the price of 2001. Now, 2001, there were not even 70 million cell phones in the country. By the time 2009 came, we were running around 700 million mobile phones, and consequently, the price should have also gone up 10 times. But Raja decided that it will be on a first come, first served basis. Why I say so is that Manmohan Singh, as Prime Minister, wrote on November 2008, a letter to Raja saying that it will be best if you auction it. Hansraj Bhardwaj also had made that recommendation and said that a group of ministers should be set up to decide the procedure. But Raja wrote back to the Prime Minister, which is in shocking language, saying that, yes, I've got your letter, but I have consulted higher authorities in quite almost those words, higher authorities, and I have decided that it will be on first come, first served basis. And Manmohan Singh understood who the higher authority is, higher than the Prime Minister, and he kept his mouth shut. And on that basis, the auction was done. Now, one of the things is that the argument given by Raja was that if I fix the price low, then the tariffs will also go low. Unfortunately, that was just a cover argument, because what happened is that after the licenses were given, and they were given to most undeserving authorities, but they managed to come into Raja's office in the night and slept there, I think. And so that the first thing in the morning, they were the ones who got it. One was Shahid Balwas, the right-hand man of Dawood, who had a company called Swan Limited, and it was earlier owned by Anil Ambani, and which had nothing to do with telecom. In fact, Shahid Balwas was known for land estate, he was known as a land mafia in Bombay. and he got the license. And then there was this Unitech, which is again another land company, building company, which had nothing to do with electronics. They didn't have an electronic tower. They also got it, and others got it also on the basis of first come first served basis. And each of these 9 companies either sold 100% of the license in the black market. 2 companies, I say black market because they made them pay the market price. And the market price I had calculated was 10 times the price that if that was charged. So Eti Salat from Dubai came, from Abu Dhabi came here and got the license, and so did the Norwegian company.
Telenor.
Telenor, they got the license buying from not the government, but buying from Unitech. Tata sold it to Docomo. Tata sold a big share to Docomo. Like that, somebody shows to Shishtani, some Russian company. I think it was Aditya Birla or somebody.
He was a plumber in Sonia Gandhi's home.
Yes, that's right. That company was set up by the electrician in Sonia Gandhi's 10 Janpath. So he got the license and he sold it. So and all of them made huge killing by selling it. They didn't sell it at 10 times. They sold it at 8 times. So when you do the calculation, if the company, if these licenses had been given at market price and minus the price at which it was given, which is 1/10 that, the gap becomes 1,76,000 crores, which is what the CAG did the simple arithmetic calculation and said and became famous for it. So now all this was illegal. And so when I went to the courts, the question is, how do we enter into the picture? After all, this is a policy matter, and the court has already decided in the Balco case that in policy matters, the courts will not intervene. But we had to show that some public interest was lost. And that we did by showing A, the loss of revenue, and B, that which the Supreme Court then embellished it and put it in the judgment, that space, airspace, is an asset of the country, and it is limited and belongs to the people. And therefore, if you are going to give a part of the airspace, then the public interest has to be protected, and therefore the PIL, and then later on Prashant Bhushan, who was also filed this similar kind of petition, they said that these people, it's a viable petition, and they heard the whole petition, and in a historic judgment, cancelled all the licenses and said, now go and auction it. And you will be surprised to know that the first auction, second auction now, each has been giving 3 lakh crore rupees as revenue by auctioning, which is equal to the total money that you collect those days from income tax. So, so much resources had been gone into private pockets, and we got it cancelled. Then a separate prosecution was ordered in a special court for the setup for the CBI. And that process began at to prosecute the people. I had also filed a private complaint, so that became a basis. And on this basis, I had also filed a petition saying that amongst the accused, Raja and some diplomats, Chidambaram also should be included, because
I'll do the picture here.
Yeah, I will conclude it and give it to you. Yeah. Chidambaram should also be included, because I produced 4 minutes of meetings of Raja with Chidambaram, where Chidambaram is instructing him how to do it. And one last point I'll make before handing it over to my two distinguished colleagues here. What Chidambaram was asked by Raja is that there is a restriction that once the license is given to a company, then that company cannot sell to another company. This was before the whole thing happened. And so how do we manage to give it to Etisalat and Telenor and Docomo and so on? So Chidambaram was the one who advised him that yes, you can't sell the license, but you can sell the company which has got the license. So Etisalat bought 100% of the shares of Swan Telecom, and Telenor bought almost 100% of Unitech. Like that, these companies became these other companies, outside companies, were able to get the license through the indirect route, like in the National Herald also, buying the shares and becoming the owner of that company. So this was the way it was done, and it became a historic case. And I can say that principally the BJP came to power in 2014 only on the basis of this extraordinary corruption that we caught. People were seen, taken to court, and they were being prosecuted, they sent to jail for inquiry, investigation, so on, and a whole climate changed. So therefore, I will ask now Gopi, who was an insider. He's written a book. I don't know whether it's already published.
Not yet published. I'm waiting for
Not yet published because he thinks that it's quite explosive a book. So let him do it in his own time. But let him tell us now why that this whole case is not reaching a point where people are being convicted and sent to jail when you've got such an open shut case.
I'll come to the brief history coming to Chidambaram side and where all our association started.
Yes.
Actually, I landed Delhi in 2008, in the beginning 2007 last, and the scam happened in 2008 January, and people started talking after Telenor and Etisalat started selling, and thankfully I got a whistleblower, our good friend, all of us good friend Asivada Macha. Actually, he leaked us this Prime Minister's letter and everything, Raja's midnight letters, delivery, all the histories he told us. And I actually got in touch with you, Dr. Swamy, on 2008 last, because then, like a friend, you welcome me because you were reading Pioneers also, because Pioneer was actually concentrating on the personal corruption of Raja, how his family has got milked and how many personal companies they started. And when we went ahead, so you, Dr. Swamy, actually told me the old cabinet decision of Arun Shauri those days, telecom price has to be fixed by the joint meeting of telecom minister and finance minister. Then the role of Chidambaram he told. So I said that I will write tomorrow. So you advised me, never write the role of Chidambaram till Raja goes. Otherwise, Chidambaram thinks he has not yet caught in telecom scam. So he will also putting blame on Raja publicly and other things. Let Raja go, then we will catch Chidambaram. So around a year, I was like, because journalist has a problem, breaking news tendency. I have, every week I will come to you, sir, shall I attack Chidambaram? So you always advise you, sometimes you scolded me, saying that journalist, this is not a fast food counter. If you write Chidambaram's name, both of them will unite and Sonia, everybody will come and the case will not go further. Let us concentrate on Raja. Then Raja resigned. We blasted. That time Chidambaram congratulated me personally. You did a publicly in front of journalists at a lunch at his home. He congratulated me. So I was thinking next week we are going to write against you. and we started that this thing. Then all the details, and you attached the case of Chidambaram in the main case with a separate IA. Then Supreme Court and everybody looked whenever it comes to Chidambaram, because at that time he was Home Minister.
Yes.
And courtroom is full of IB and other things. And you remember, sir, when you were fighting a case on Chidambaram, Government of India filed an affidavit in the court, control Subramania Swamy.
Yes.
And it is a two-line, control Subramania Swamy, and they attached your Bangalore speech. Your Bangalore speech, you are congratulating Tihar jailer, saying that you have put idli, dosa, vada for Raja and Kanimuri South Indians, Tihar menu mein, but please make pasta because an Italian lady is coming, Sonia Gandhi is coming, so put pasta. And the Times of India that time published, and Government of India put this, and reading this, Justice Singhvi and Ganguly laughed and thrown away. P.P. Rao appeared for the center that time. You remember? Then what happened was judiciary has no power to take an action against the Home Minister, and the pliable judge Singhvi, Saini's trial court judge argument, all points in the judgment agrees with Dr. Swamy's points, but last he says a British judgment, a thief's friend cannot be treated as thief, something like that. So he agrees. Raja and Chidambaram met 4 times, proves, but Swamy has not provided the proof for the mental culpability of Chidambaram. Mindset of Chidambaram, how can you prove? Then from there, Chidambaram thought he saved. But Chidambaram fell on Aircel Maxis case, where we produced, actually you conducted a press conference in April 26, 2012 in Constitution Club, where we produced how the Aircel money, just some 26 lakhs linked with Karti's companies. That started the collapse of Chidambaram. Personal money trailed to family. Chidambaram issued a press release in the parliament. Pranab Mukherjee said that I cannot talk on Chidambaram's, that Aircel Maxis, I can talk on general things. Then Chidambaram and Yashwant Sinha had a fight each other. They throw papers each other. Then Chidambaram come out from there. He started. Then Arun Jaitley first 2-3 days tried to save, but then I think RSS gave him a strict direction, and he called me to talk about this Aircel Maxis issue. And in publicly in the floor of the house, he attacked Chidambaram, but he himself was saying, "Dekho yaar, he's a friend of mine for 22 years." And Chidambaram also said that 22 years of friendship, you forgotten, and come on Swamy's allegation. You did not take your name. But then this government came, the NDA government came. The most ditching man was Arun Jaitley. You remember October 2014, Government of India, NDA government changed KK Venugopal and brought Nageshwar Rao. That Shaktikanta Das was the revenue secretary, the current governor.
Yeah.
They said we don't need the investigating officer Rajeshwar Singh, he can be transferred. Aircel Maxis case is finished. That time you objected, Nageshwar Rao, saying that my government is who authorized you to make this. Then conducted a raid at Chidambaram's home, which even finance minister came through the television scrolling only. And there he found Karti's entire computer and data, where he found 4 cases. One and basic thing was INX Maxis, where money was gone. Lot of then also Jaitley sat on Parliament, Pioneer published a lot. Then Sree Iyer put out all your statement as Chidambara Rahasya title. So there were a lot of things in Chidambaram. When we got, I believe, if Arun Jaitley was alive, Chidambaram's arrest would not happen.
Yes.
Look at the timeline. Chidambaram's arrest happened in August 21. Just a day before that judge last day retirement, he passed this judgment.
2018.
2019.
19, yes, excuse me.
And August 9, Arun Jaitley entered AIMS in coma. So the government, Narendra Modi government, was saved from the clutches of Arun Jaitley. See, because otherwise this Chidambaram case will not happen. Because you remember in June, previous CBI, when Arun Jaitley was in America for treatment of cancer, CBI registered case against Chanda Kochar and Arun Jaitley against CBI. He blasted against CBI, sitting thousands of miles away. I came to know paper how a finance minister of country can talk against CBI. Anyway,
yes.
now
Action.
At present, Chidambaram is facing 2 cases each in CBI and ED and Aircel Maxis and INX Media. Charge sheets are filed. Aircel, they need little bit time also because 2 foreigners are accused. So 4 cases against Chidambaram. And that our Yatinder, our friend Yatinder, advocate Yatinder, argued a case on photographing case where CBI in the last hearing said that they are going to file FIR where Nalini's telephone transactions, handwriting, everything is there. And there we need a mysterious 2 deaths also. Nalini's sister was also found dead. And Nalini is also facing now Sharada scam, Alipur. So the life is between Tihar to Alipur. Husband and son will be Tihar in few years. And Nalini in Alipur. Because Chidambara Rahasya, what you declared that entire Chidambaram's properties across the 14 countries and 21 bank accounts, it has been uploaded by Sree Iyer and Chidambara Rahasya, so that he can tell a lot of things. Even $15,000 were taken from Malya. Karthi, that Sree Iyer can explain, I think.
Let's hear what Sree Iyer has to say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy, and thank you, Team VHS India, for including me in your program again. And the P Gurus is a little bit late to this game because we came in around 2016, but we've been playing catch up ever since. And one of the things that we put together was this thing called Chidambara Rahasya, which has all the details of the various bank accounts in various countries. That is one thread. I mean, there is one other web post that I have called C-family-scams. And Gopi mentioned a few of those things. I'll add a few more that are still there. For example, he mentioned Aircel Maxis, INX Media, Sarada, and Hotel Grab. There are a couple of other things. One is by the Central Board of Direct Taxes, where they are trying to go after the family for black money and Benami under Black Money and Benami Act. And I can tell you, this family is extremely fortunate. They have some of the judges who are so happy to please them. They can handwrite the orders if they want to. That is the kind of luck this family has. Yes, and there are
transferred to Chandigarh.
Yes.
No names.
No names, but I will tell a case. Very fun. PMLA Act was passed by Parliament by Chidambaram and vetted by Kapil Sibal in UPA tenure. But before the judge, when this NDA regime, Chidambaram files an appeal through Kapil Sibal saying that this act is so atrocious, anti-democratic. First day gave us stay, and next day Supreme Court has taken out. Now he's in Chandigarh.
Okay, let me just finish. I need just a couple more minutes. One other thing that is doing the rounds is in the Ministry of Home Affairs itself about Mr. Chidambaram messing up with the Ishra Jahan case, where many of the bureaucrats have said that it was under his insistence that they were forced to change their version. So this is another thing that has not been looked at. By the way, this is just one set of things. I have a whole new set of things that I have written in my book called C Company, and I'm going to show you a small picture here as to how Mr. Chidambaram uses media, P notes, and what I call as C-company. The C-company is a bunch of pliant bureaucrats who has carefully placed in various departments, finance ministry, SEBI, NSC, I can go on, NIPFP, I can go on and on. And amazingly, not one of them have seen jail, not one of them, have been acted upon. There are many investigations going on. This is just the tip of the iceberg, because I'm saying even as we talk about it today, there is another scam unfolding right in front of our eyes. I had been saying that as soon as this corona happened, they should have shut down the derivatives, commodities markets, and in fact, the whole stock exchange could have just taken a break for 6 weeks. Nothing would have happened in India. It's a very shallow market, but none of that has happened, and things continue to go on. Brokers are making a lot of money, and Indians think that, oh, I don't have any skin in the stock market, therefore my money is not being lost. Big bad news, guys. Many of you don't realize that your mutual funds are at risk. 2 years ago, when I was talking about this book in Mumbai, press release, I had said categorically, any mutual fund, it can at best give you only 2 to 3% more than what the bank is giving. If it is promising you more than that, watch out, do your homework, be careful, because all those chickens are going to come home to roost now. I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I said this 2 years ago. A lot of this stuff is all big belief. People are hyping, and I'm very, very sorry to say that the whole fountain of all this stuff starts with Mr. P Chidambaram.
Very good. Actually, the thing is that what is tragic is that the most dedicated, honest officers had been targeted by our government.
Yeah.
And, they have still not got, those atrocious actions taken against them has still not been taken. People ask me, why is things going slow? I said, when the key officials who know the whole story, they have not been, respected. They have not been, their promotions been withheld, leave alone being promoted as an appreciation. The due promotions have been deliberately held. And the people who have worked as this part of this cartel that exists today to protect the corrupt, that cartel is still, it has been greatly weakened because of people like us. But the fact is that they still operate. The moment we relax, they will play havoc with all the people to make an example of officers for the future. So I think if we are very serious about fighting corruption, let me say that these officers should be honored, and those corrupt officers, if the Prime Minister doesn't have a list, I can give him a list, who are even today sabotaging every anti-corruption act, they have to be removed.
Sir, actually, this entire CBI issues, when this NDA government came, the CBI had a lot of problems. First, Ranjit Sinha was continuing. The Modi government, even Supreme Court acted against him. They did not act. And then Ranjit Sinha brought his own Chela Anil Sinha, because people joking the people is, one is black Sinha and another is white Sinha, both are same. And Anil Sinha, government has no control. Then they brought Alok Verma. But that time, Asthana was also there. Then unheard in the history, two officers started fighting. And I personally believe CBI fight was engineered by Ahmed Patel and Chidambaram groups, because these officers, they split these officers by this case, that case. They maligned, they blackmailed the officers with their old connections. That's the reason.
And there was also a female who shall remain unnamed.
Yeah.
Journalist.
Yeah, files were floating from CBI officers to Chidambaram's home.
Yeah. And the sealed cover was found in Chidambaram's bedroom.
Yeah, people, and the problem is maybe the current BJP government also have the problem. Some still the Mir Jafars are all the old people still there, and they played the game, and they were capable of. CBI is supposed to be under the Prime Minister only every time. Even during Manmohan Singh's time, MOS, PMO, Narayan Swamy rules the CBI directors come to Narayan Swamy's home, and where Digvijay Singh, Chidambaram and all Congress officers will join and give directions. But that kind, but in BJP's tenure, the CBI could not control properly, and still Ahmed Patel and Chidambaram's people. And look at the case of this government failed to understand. Karti was LOC was issued whenever Karti wanted to fly. But Karti came to Supreme Court and said that there is an LOC against me. LOC people will come to know only when you cross the immigration, then they will. So that kind of leakers still there. Any enforcement director was a great organizer, Karnail Singh. Now the
Yes.
how Rajeshwar was founded, and that income tax officer SK Srivastav, he was put in a anyway. These are all corruption.
These are transitional phases. We have to correct them.
Yeah, I always argue with Sree Iyer. Sree Iyer will ask on a daily basis what happened. But being associated and got your advice properly, Dr. Swamy, I will always tell Sree Iyer, this is not a fast food. Corruption phase fighting is not a fast food. Now 2008, now I started entering into this 2G now, 12 years, sir. You remember where all we go. And sir, you remember when we go
I took 22 years for Jayalalitha, don't forget.
Yeah. And sir, I always, in my book, unpublished book I wrote, those days when we start the cases in the early stages, who were all with us in the court? Madam Rosna ma'am, plus Hari Singh, Pran, and your old PSOs, and some few journalists like us. And then what is the majority of the journalists will say? Kuch nahi hone wala hai, kuch nahi hone wala hai. Kuch nahi. And then those days, even so many cabinet ministers of UPA told me, you were able to put Raja in prison, but don't think Chidambaram is not in your thing. So I told them, we South Indians, and being a Keralite, I can easily handle a Tamilian. So, I had a problem with Karti and said that I said that Delhi ka sher, Chate ka chuha. You remember that day? So attacking Chidambaram and others, so many media. There were Chidambaram's role in one of the Chidambaram's investments in newspapers, media organizations, and Aircel case also. ED has said that 250 crore has gone to NDTV.
Yes.
That Malaysian Avani Astro.
Yes.
Aircel Max is there. So
That's right.
They have a huge control over media. And unfortunately, BJP's that time, up to 2018-19, Arun Jaitley had a huge control over the CBI and all media, and they won't. And it was there because I had interacted with Arun Jaitley in Aircel Max's speech. I prepared his speech in Rajya Sabha. After coming out, I congratulated you, made a great speech in Rajya Sabha. So he was telling me, look at my phone. I'm switching off. You will get 25 missed calls. All 25 are the advocates, including Rohtagi, Vibha Makija, and all these ladies and all the Delhi High Court lawyers. They are all asking Jaitley, why are you talking against Chidambaram? So Arun Jaitley was saying, I had a long relation with this man. It's not as easy.
Right, I know that.
He overpowered BJP in that.
In fact, Arun Jaitley told me that, you go after Chidambaram's son, Chidambaram won't mind, but leave Chidambaram out of this. Yeah, I remember him telling this in 2011 or 12.
This was all done by Karti. When I wrote against Sharada scam, Nalini's role, Arun Jaitley used to say they are not in good terms. So don't. But this kind of theories he will float. And look at the way this NDA government diluted the Prevention of Corruption Act. Now, 2G appeal, Raja officers, Siddhartha Bekura and Chandolia says, act has changed, so please leave us.
Yes.
Today, in that time, Rohtagi was all the accused lawyer, and he became the Attorney General of this government. So, what is the message you are giving to Saini? But anyway, I always tell Sree Iyer or every friend, it is not a fast track case. You have to be patient. You have to control your corruption case and don't lose your heart.
Yes, that's right. That's correct. That's the final message. Okay, over to Jagdish.
Yeah, I would request Sree Iyer any last comment on this today's talk?
It was a fascinating thought exchange of views, and I have come around to the view of Gopikrishnan that yes, patience is a virtue, and that I have to develop that. I'm used to things moving a little faster in the United States, but that's just me. But but viewers, please do go to this page of P Gurus called C-family-scams. I'm going to post that link in the as part of this conversation, because where we are trying to put interactively each particular investigation, whether it is CBI on AM case, Aircel Maxes, or ED, and we'll keep updating that so that you can go and find out what is going on, because it is very difficult to, this man rightfully was called by one judge as the kingpin, and it is so true. So, by this man, I mean Mr. Chidambaram. So thank you very much, VHS India, for providing this platform to jog everyone's memory. We are not out of the woods by any stretch of imagination, but we are marching forward. Thank you very much.
Is Arvind wanting to say something, Jagdish?
Yeah, Arvind, can you comment on the issues?
Yeah, but Dr. Swamy, when you mentioned about Chidambaram, one very important thing that has been left out, maybe because of the concentration on the financial scams, Chidambaram is also involved in Hashimpura case, and you have taken it up,
that's right.
and that's a separate dimension.
Separate session for that.
Okay.
That's a huge thing which I'm not letting go.
Okay.
I've won 50% of the battle. I need the other 50% also.
Right.
It's a genocide case.
Yeah, that's right.
Friends, with this we come to an end of another interesting session known as the Chidambara Rahasya on the corrupt family of Chidambaram. I would thank our panelist, Dr. Swamy, Sree Iyer from California, and journalist J. Gopikrishnan for their valuable inputs. I would just like to tell our viewers, because viewers are and VHS members and patriotic people are always keen that what's happening to these corruption cases, why it is taking time. And just as you participated and heard in this discussion, that we have to follow the due process. I know people are very upset that things are not taken to the logical conclusion, but the occupational hazards which whistleblowers like Dr. Swamy, Gopikrishnan, Ashirwad, Sree Iyer, and others are facing at various levels. Governments could have changed, and those who rode on the bandwagon of Dr. Swamy's campaign and today have become powerful ministers, but having come to power, they have forgotten what all has been done in the campaign against corruption. And some of them are not ready to even act. On the contrary, as Dr. Swamy has been maintaining, that even if they did not want to act, but they should not create hurdles in the whole process of seeing that justice is got. So there are a lot of issues, and it's not like a 2020 cricket match will get instant results. It's a long drawn process, and as we all know that Jayalalitha's case started by Dr. Swamy in 1996 had taken nearly 20 years for it to reach its final conclusion. Justice moves slowly, but definitely it moves, and please have hope, because there are a lot of factors which always try to discourage. We get always some heroes which even turn up for a few days and start some campaign, and then everything is forgotten. But people like Dr. Swamy has been keeping the flag flying high in this campaign against corruption. Be it his own government, be it other parties' government, he has heard he's the people's voice or people's consciousness to fight corruption. So with this, we come to an end of another interesting episode. Wish to remind our leaders that we used to tell our viewers that tomorrow at 8 p.m. we have an exclusive and explosive discussion on a very interesting topic. I'll keep the suspense going. Tomorrow, we have this discussion on a very topical, explosive, exclusive session. And on Sunday, that is the 26th of April, we have a special episode on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, and General Bakshi discussing the issue. So two interesting sessions, that is tomorrow, exclusive, explosive, and day after tomorrow, Sunday, General Bakshi and Dr. Swamy discussing the mystery of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's death. So with this, I wind up for today. We had an extended session because the topic was interesting. So Ramesh Swamy, Arvind, Ashish Shetty, Tejas, Rakesh, and Ishwar Iyer and team for their support for our continuous beaming of this program live every day at 8 p.m. Thank you.
I think Jagdish ji